Hi, my name is Argyro Nicolaou, and I'm here with Hushpreet Daliwal, the CEO of NACUE, to talk about women in entrepreneurship as part of the Cypriot Enterprise Link event on the subject. I want to thank Hushpreet for being here tonight with us and having this conversation. To start off, Hushpreet, I wanted to talk a bit about NACUE's beginning and the Cypriot Enterprise Link's beginning. The terrains for entrepreneurial growth in Cyprus and the UK are obviously very, very different, considering the levels and areas of technological innovation, industrial focus, the number of patents, and so on. But CEL has been having a similar beginning to NACUE in many ways, since it was launched by young people, some of which are NACUE alumni. It has a vision to create an entrepreneurial ecosystem, an infrastructure that did not previously exist to inspire and support entrepreneurship in Cyprus, and it was launched at grassroots level and wants to grow organically. As an individual who has been in NACUE from its early days and experienced its journeys through a startup, from being a startup, to being a more established national enterprise consortium, sure. What advice would you give to the Cypriot Enterprise Link in its early steps?
Sure. So when I look back and really think about some of the key critical success factors in taking NACUE to where it is today, there's a few things that I would nail down on. So the first is packaging and understanding your success stories. In the very early days, understand and appreciate those success stories that you're having on the ground at the grassroots level with those student groups or graduates or whoever's engaging around those clusters and those groups. And package those stories and make sure you're communicating them outward. Start talking to the wider stakeholder community, be that local media, be that local politicians, and start telling them about the success that you're having on the ground and help them connect the two. I think the second then is the whole idea of is helping and enabling that body of stakeholders to understand what it is that you're doing. Be it that Cyprus and the UK are very different in terms of what they're currently trying to achieve, there's one thing that unites every single country at the moment, and that's this whole idea of the growth agenda. And what you have to do, what I'm trying to do within NACUE in the UK, is help connect what is the entrepreneurial imperative and how that leads to growth. And what we're doing on the ground helps to get to that end. So really taking them along with you and telling the story is really, really key. And then the other really important piece, I think, is establishing a mentorship board or community around you right from the very onset. You're able to buy an incredible amount of legitimacy just by engaging the right people, be it entrepreneurs, be it politicians, or so forth. Get them on board and just say, look, can I just have your time? Can I just have your mentorship? And will you back this?
You spoke about the differences between Cyprus and the UK, but I think one thing they might have in common, or perhaps you can tell us more about this, is the fact that, Cyprus produces a very large number of university graduates. It's the second country per population with the highest per population ratio of university graduates in Europe. But it is a common phenomenon for people not to know where to go career-wise after they graduated, and not being educated enough as to what constitutes entrepreneurship or how they can proceed with their entrepreneurial endeavors. As an expert on the given topic, what are the three most important steps you think that these individuals should take? What would your advice be in sort of 3 steps to these individuals?
Yeah, so I think often young people aren't quite given the exposure to entrepreneurship very early on within their education track. And I think if you're an individual that has enough self-awareness or realization, or indeed has started to have that exposure to entrepreneurship to realize it's something that you want to do, there's a few things that you can undertake. So I think the first of them is getting an experience or internship at an SME. The value that you'll get out of working in a local startup as to the tasks that you'll be able to undertake, the vastness of your responsibilities and the business areas that you'll be able to see is absolutely remarkable. So there's that. I think that's absolutely key. I think in addition, you want to try and build up a mentorship circle around you. Try to pinpoint people that you want to learn from, and you want to begin to start saying, actually, can I spend some time with you and understand how I can grow and learn from some of the things that you have seen or you have undertaken within your career to succeed. And I think the other bit is just have a bit of confidence. confidence at that age, at that tender young age when you're coming out of university. It's the easiest time to take a risk, and I know a lot of people say that, but really do think about that. Money, in terms of your financial situation, it's the easiest time it's ever going to be in your life.
Talking about taking risks and experiences after university, let's talk a bit about you and your journey. You entered NACUE as an intern, and in less than 3 years you became its CEO. If we asked you back then, would you have predicted this kind of success that you have today, your position?
Yes. No, absolutely not. I think it's one of those things that it's chance favors the prepared mind and the connected mind. And I think that's probably the one slogan that's guided me throughout my life. It's being in the right place at the right time, being prepared to work really hard, and being open to new opportunity. I think my own journey is like the one I just described, this whole idea of coming out of university, actually thinking, I've got a year, why not just take a year out and see where this leads? Financially, I'll be okay. You've always got the backup plan of going into a graduate position or so on and looking for that career opportunity. But why not just take a year out to understand where you want to go in the world and the impact that you want to have? And so that's what I started out with. Interned with NACUE and just learned a great deal. I had the benefit of learning from a great founder at NACUE and grew it from there.
That's a great success story there, I think, in itself. If you could pick some of the highlights of your career up to now, be it obstacles or a meeting you had with someone or some sort of revelation that you got while working your way to the position you are now, which experiences would you choose?
I think actually being called an expert in an interview, that's a pretty big highlight. But I think more than that, there's a few key things as a business builder. When you start to grow your own startup, you realize that you're really proud of. And that's, for me, one of the greatest highlights has been building up the team. I reached a point over the last year where I had over 20 staff and realized that actually the business works without me. When I'm gone, they're still working away, and it's great and it's remarkable. So having that confidence within working with great young people has been wonderful. In addition to that, of course, like government funding and achieving that for young people. I mean, there's a massive statement to make for a government to give away funds right into the hands of the young student and graduate community to say, look, we believe in what you're doing, what can you make happen with this? That was, by and large, a massive success that the team and I shared. And of course, a success story. So here we are, 3 years later after NACUE, and it just astounds me, these young people that I meet who just want to change the world and are doing it all starting at their local institution.
That's really amazing, and I hope you have many more success stories to come. Now, as a woman, and as a woman entrepreneur, what advice would you give to other women who are considering to enter into entrepreneurship? Do you think that being a woman in this day and age makes a difference? Should it make a difference? Are women sort of on the same level as men when it comes to being entrepreneurial and setting up their own company?
No doubt there's impediments that a young person will face, man or woman, right? But women in particular, in certain cultures, there are difficulties. But nonetheless, I don't think it's ever aided me or some of the greatest women that I know as entrepreneurs to think of that as a handicap. The key is always to consider yourself as somebody who can bring to the fold something unique based on your own personal endeavors or attributes or something that you can bring to the table. But I think it's more about understanding the impact that you want to make and just striving for that. And I think the one way that I've really understood what impact that I can make as a young woman is really by surrounding myself with other women who do a remarkable job at it. So despite me saying that actually I feel like I'm in a setting where that doesn't really matter to me, nonetheless the women who have succeeded, it seems, are incredible and fierce, and I do everything I can to surround myself with them, learn from them. Yeah.
And as a last question to sort of wrap things up, what is the best advice that someone has given you, Hushpreet the person or Hushpreet CEO of NACUE, and why was it so important?
Yeah, I think, so I mentioned a little bit earlier about being the connected mind. I think you've got to be connected with the right people at the right place, and just being open to new knowledge and new information about new things. That's the only real way you understand where your place is in the world. I think there's a few other things that I've received along the way, and that's this whole idea about just having self-conviction. You are your greatest, biggest hero. Just believe in yourself and absolutely have the conviction to succeed once you've got an idea planted in your mind. The real people that really make it in this world, who take an idea and a seedling to what is a business or something that's a real world changer. And that's all about you. That's entirely about you and the people that you can bring around you to help work with you and mentor you and build up a team. So believe in that idea, believe in it. And I think the other thing that's aided me as a startup CEO is this story of a Japanese swordsman, and something that he always used to say about his fights is that he never thought about who he was fighting with or how he was fighting. He thought only of cutting. So his only prerogative going into fight was thinking about cutting. And whilst this sounds like a really violent comparison, what I mean to say is my job as a CEO of a startup is to always have absolute clarity and think only of what am I trying to achieve.
That's great. Thank you very much for talking to us today. It's been great. And thank you for helping the Cypriot Enterprise Link to connect, collaborate, and create. Thank you.
Thank you.